the fastest 45 minutes in television. It's football's play to win.
Today's show is being brought to you by Nissan, the Orlando Law Firm, and Longhorn Steakhouse. Welcome to football's Play to Win with Falcons All-Pro defensive end Chuck Smith, Falcons All-Pro offensive tackle Bob Whitfield, Fantasy Football League Master Adam Brown, game analysis with Nikki Williams, Play to Win expert Jeffrey the Ed Schechter, medical and injury update with Dr. Andrew Lalagi, and your host, Atlanta sports legend Bob Neal. Today's Hometown Team Report is brought to you by Mellow Mushroom Pizza Makers, a higher order of pizza for your tailgating events.
On to Notre Dame now for us. We're excited to play a program of that much prestige, and I think a lot of Brian Kelly and his staff. You know, they do a tremendous job. They've got a very storied program of which our players have been made aware of and understand.
All right, welcome to the show. We're talking about South Bend, Notre Dame, tough place to play. I played there once in high school. Not against Notre Dame, though, fortunately.
Okay.
Against
Just checking.
However, it was an
I thought you were going to say you played with the Four Horsemen. Just check.
Newt Rodney. I was at there. That would be age appropriate. Play with the Four Horsemen. Welcome to the show, everybody.
It's good to be here.
It's good to get started with today. And let's talk about playing Notre Dame in South Bend.
Well, I had a chance to play there when I was at Tennessee. It was fun. I mean, it was really magical. When you play at Notre Dame, it was really phenomenal, you know, and looking at the stadium. But one thing I always noticed, it was different than the SEC. It was a small kind of stadium.
Yeah.
I mean, it kind of reminded me of like a Roman cathedral or something, you know, Roman type.
Imagine that.
Yeah.
Now, see, did y'all win at Notre Dame?
Yeah, we did.
Because I know when I played there with Stanford, I saw that touchdown, Jesus, and I was driving right home to praying and everything, but we whooped Notre Dame's tail. It wasn't a big win. I mean, big.
Yeah, because back in those days, y'all wasn't playing for championships. But now at Tennessee, when we played there, we were playing for championships, big things and big rings and things, as we used to say back at Tennessee. But again, we were back-to-back SEC champs back in that day. So nonetheless, we won at Notre Dame, but I know you had a good experience, but I had a championship experience.
Listen, do you guys have a sliver of humbleness left in you? Can I ask you one question, though? Did you ever appreciate the nostalgia of playing there? Was there a part of you that thought, I'll respect this place?
I really thought an Irish little leprechaun was going to jump off the thing. So I was like, where's the leprechaun?
Hey,
apparently not.
I wasn't worried about no leprechaun. I was worried about the bus, Jerome Bettis. A beast back at Notre Dame. What?
So the answer is no?
No.
You guys didn't respect, because
No,
Dominic Sanders from UGA is just trashing Notre Dame.
No,
right now. Oh yeah,
nah.
he's like, multiple reporters have asked him if he at least is feeling the feels of the nostalgia of playing in a place like. No, I have no feels. I have no respect. We're going to punish them. He has said this like five. It's not classy.
Well, in all respect to Notre Dame's program, Lou Holtz was on the sideline. Brian Kelly now, Lou Holtz, they were one of the best teams in college. They were a dynasty back then, really. Right. You know, they were a dynasty back then.
All right, let's talk. Another great place to play in Chicago, where I played in high school once, in case you needed to know this, was Chicago's Soldier Field, and the Falcons are going to open there.
Well, I think it's a great look for the Falcons, but here's my thing about the NFL. I like the Falcons a favorite, but on any given Sunday, I just hope the Falcons go in with a workmanlike attitude. I like what Coach Quinn is saying, you know, it's all about competing. So I expect the Falcons to go in there and compete. But one thing is, you know, Bob, I mean, on any given Sunday, I mean, things happen.
Opening round, you got a new starting guard in Wes Schweitzer. So the Falcons still have to prove themselves on offense. So I think that they will do a lot with the running game, but you'll see the first time a full weapon with Julio Jones.
They're the NFC champs, but everybody's going to be gunning for them. So.
And the secondary is Chicago suspect. They got a couple new guys back there. And remember this, man, Mike Glennon, he's had a terrible preseason. He can't find an open receiver, so I think this is a great matchup for the Atlanta Falcons. Well, I think it's a good start. I mean, anytime you could, just think about all the training you've done. Think about the offseason.
Yeah.
That's what it's all about. You want to get out there and compete, and I think the Falcons got a good start. Because remember, if this Chicago team can go 6-9, it's like the Super Bowl for them. 7-9, it's like the Super Bowl. That's how bad they've been.
Don't lose this
There
game,
you heard
Falcons.
it here first. We'll be back in just a moment. Stay with us on Football's Play to Win.
You never know when the moment will strike, and when it does, you want to be ready. Mellow Mushroom's craft pizza, beer, and cocktails can help you enjoy a more satisfying eating experience. Mellow Mushroom is safe for daily use. If you find yourself sitting in a Mellow Mushroom for more than 4 hours, you may want to go home and come back another day. Mellow Mushroom is not for everyone. Just kidding, it is. Ask your doctor about Mellow Mushroom. He may want to come with you.
We, the internet-loving people, want super fast internet. One that downloads an HD movie in 34 seconds. Because who wants to wait for entertainment? We want it right away. So we can watch and enjoy the second we want to. Right, buddy?
Can I have another juice box?
You're growing up so fast.
Experience super fast internet. AT&T Fiber.
At Longhorn, tonight's special, the Great American Steak Dinner for $12.99. A center-cut sirloin with a side, plus a starter, or dessert. And for lunch, try one of our new burgers, like the barbecue bacon burger. You can't fake steak.
Today's NFL Report is brought to you by Nellie Ford, Sandy Springs. The car you want, the name you trust. It has to be Nellie Ford, Sandy Springs.
All right, time to talk about the NFL. Nikki's sitting over here talking about creative cleats. What do you even mean?
Well, it's fashion. Well, now they can be creative, Bob. It used to be that they were getting fined for having creative cleats. I mean, OBJ himself paid over $42,000 in fines last year. So now the players can get creative with their cleats. The cleat developers are having a really good time with this too. Here's the catch though. They can only do it in preseason or pregame activities. So they cannot wear these cleats during the, I know, the no fun league, right? It's a step, ooh, no pun intended, in the right direction though, right?
They'll have a fashion show before the game.
Why not? I like a fashion show.
It makes no sense to me.
You have to go change your shoes? That
makes no sense.
What makes no sense to you?
I mean, it makes no sense they have to change their shoes because you can see the whole uniform. It's not affecting the jersey or the pants. You understand what I'm saying? No matter what they put on their feet.
But I think that the argument here that they have is that when does it stop? If they start letting you get creative with your cleats during the games, then where do they stop letting you be creative? And then at what point does it become a distraction and you no longer look uniform?
Next thing, high school, then it's youth sports. No telling where this stops.
Slippery slope.
Stop the cleats problem. All right. Let's talk about this SUV.
That's not a problem.
Phillip Rivers in style.
Mo money, no problems. That's Phillip Rivers' new $200,000 SUV that he takes from San Diego to LA with a private film room. $200,000 doesn't even cover the cost of the driver. But he said, I was looking at helicopters, because we all are sometimes, you know.
Yeah,
and it was just, it was just more cost effective and it was faster to take this $200,000 SUV with this film room so I can study film. We all know the traffic is terrible, so who can blame him? If you got it, blow it, right?
Hey, let's get started with the games. Green Bay and Seattle.
Oh, this might be a preview of the NFC Championship, Bob. So that Green Bay game versus Seattle, Aaron Rodgers, Russell Wilson, but there's a key weapon that Green Bay added. Martellus Bennett at tight end, who you saw with New England. He stretched that field. That makes Green Bay a formidable opponent.
Well, I like Green Bay, but I think Green Bay is a little suspect on the defensive end. Aaron Rodgers can throw for as many yards as he wants, but if you look at what happened in the NFC Championship, the defense couldn't stop anyone. So really, when you look at this team up in Green Bay, they got the best quarterback in the league, but they've been to the playoffs for 8 consecutive years. But to me, it's about what's going to happen in Seattle. Russell Wilson's healthy again. You look at the running game, you look at the offensive line, then they bring in Sheldon Richardson to shore up the defensive line. I mean, I think Seattle's the better team, but I do have a lot of respect for what Green Bay's trying to accomplish. They got a quarterback and a lot of guys just throwing around the team.
One of the NFL's classic matchups.
Words with Bob. Big words with Bob.
Big word. Big word. Dallas, New York Giants. Let's talk Dallas Giants.
Time rivalry, two teams that hate each other. And the Giants beat them twice last year, which I couldn't understand.
We'll see Ezekiel, because he gets to play, then he gets a suspension. But we don't know about OBJ just yet, so we got to see if OBJ is a game-time decision to play in that game.
Okay, our way too early Super Bowl picks. This is good to get started early, give you something to look forward as you go through. I got it. You ready? KC and Atlanta.
Who are you going to win, though? Who's going to win that?
I see the Falcons winning that. All right. That's it.
Only one
what it is.
You know, mine's a long shot. You know, I'm Tennessee, Carolina, and I got Carolina, you know, maybe winning. It's a long shot. They're like 50 to 1. It's just a $10 bet early.
But that's your opinion. I respect that now. I think the Falcons, New England, I'm going to be like Drake. They're going to go back to back.
Back to back.
I just think it's going to be I think the Falcons are going to win the Super Bowl this year. I really do. I think they're going to play New England again. I just believe in what the Falcons are doing. I believe they're the team to beat.
If Carr didn't get hurt, Oakland might have gone to the Super Bowl last year, and I think they're going to go this year.
Side eye.
We'll see.
All right, let's take a look at Jeffrey's pick.
If you don't agree with Chuck, you get the side eye.
Hey.
Green Bay at home, 3 over Seattle, tough game. 2 grade A teams. I like Green Bay because of the home court advantage. I don't know how the Giants were 11-5 last year. I didn't pick them right once last year, and I'm still going to pick against them. I like the Cowboys minus the 4.
Chip on his shoulder.
All right, there you go. We'll come back in just a moment with fantasy picks. Stay with us on Football's Play to Win.
I'm talking tough, like a state of mind. Tough, like a soldier on the front line. Tough when it gets rough, like my Ford truck, always enough. I'm talking tough.
Hurry into Nally Ford and get 0% APR for 72 months on 2016 F-150 XLT, plus over $4,000 in bonus cash.
Hey y'all, we're Low Cash and we love Nally Ford and NallyFord.com. It has to be Nally Ford Sandy Springs.
We are the blood, sweat, and tears of fierce ambition. We are fueled by the impossible, an inner drive that can't be contained. We are the Georgia Bulldogs. So shout, go Dogs, and let the game begin. Here's to building champions. Now get $10,837 in total savings on F-150. See your local Ford dealer today.
4th down. That's it. Time to punt.
I mean, if it were me, I'd go for it.
Right. The day that I win this will be the day that pigs.
Okay. We got a smart one over here. These are beef, right? Wait. Seriously?
Just kidding.
This guy. I was scared for a minute.
Don't sit on the sidelines. Play the Atlanta Falcons scratcher from the Georgia Lottery.
Today's NFL Fantasy Report is being brought to you by Haviland Express Lube, driven to perform, so our customers and their vehicles can too.
The Haviland Express Fantasy Report, and let's start with projections today.
Yeah, so what we got this week is we're going to go with 3 games, 6 teams that are fantasy worthy this week. We're going to go with the Falcons at the Bears. I love Matt Ryan, I love Tevin Coleman, and I love the Falcons defense this week. What do you think?
Well, I love the Falcons offense this week because when you look at the Chicago Bears, they basically have an average to, let's be real, bad secondary. So I think from Mohamed Sanu, you look at Julio Jones, I think Austin Hooper will have a big day.
I do too.
So I think it's going to be a big day for the Falcons.
Look for Hooper to have 6 catches for 80 yards. Look for Ryan to throw for over 300 yards this week. Let's go to Seattle and Green Bay. Seattle and Green Bay, last year, as we all know, Russell Wilson, 5 picks he threw. Aaron Rodgers threw 3 touchdowns in that game. Look for something a little bit different this week, but both quarterbacks should have decent weeks this week. And Eddie Lacy coming back to Green Bay for the first time playing for Seattle. Look for him to have a chip on his shoulder. Now, finally, Pittsburgh at Cleveland. Everybody's saying, oh, Pittsburgh at Cleveland. That's not a great fantasy game. It's a great fantasy week. Why? Because Ben Roethlisberger's healthy. You got Le'Veon Bell. Even though, Chuck, let's talk about this. He didn't play in the preseason. He held out. What's your take on Le'Veon Bell this week?
Well, my take is that Le'Veon Bell's ready to roll. My take is that Le'Veon Bell's going to be Le'Veon Bell. My take is that Le'Veon Bell is one of the best running backs in the National Football League. I don't think he's going to have any problems. I think he's going to score points. I think he's going to score touchdowns. I think he's a great fantasy this week.
I think Le'Veon Bell's going to have over 20 points this week in fantasy. And look for Antonio Brown and Martavius Bryant to do the same. Martavius Bryant off a suspension. But I also want to talk about Jesse James. He is the tight end in town now. He is to himself. I like him a lot this week as well. But you know what? We're not going to talk about the Cleveland guys. What's your sleeper? Who's your sleeper for the week?
My sleeper is this: Devin Cook from Minnesota. He's clearly the #1 running back. He's clearly going to make some big noise this
And
year.
mine is James Conner backing up Le'Veon Bell, who gets some touches.
All right, we'll be back in just a moment with the Dog Report on Football's Play to Win.
Good luck, everyone.
Who do you trust to change your oil? I'm consumer investigator Dale Cardwell. This is really my car, and Haviland Express Lube is who I truly trust. They're professional, priced to beat the competition, and really, really fast.
Hey football fans, it's the season for tailgating and time to get your car's cooling system ready for winter. Mention Play to Win at any Haviland Express Lube and receive $20 off a coolant exchange service.
To see our real research and find the location nearest you, visit trustdale.com/Haviland.
At Georgia Power, we do more than generate some of the lowest cost energy in the country. We attract businesses to our state, helping add over 134,000 new jobs in the last 10 years alone, opening doors for big productions and factories of every size, connecting international companies to a growing pool of talented Georgians, and showing communities a better future with more opportunities than ever before. Georgia Power, generating opportunity.
We are the blood, sweat, and tears of fierce ambition. We are fueled by the impossible, an inner drive that can't be contained. We are the Georgia Bulldogs. So shout, "Go Dogs," and let the game begin. Here's to building champions. Now get $10,837 in total savings on F-150. See your local Ford dealer today.
Today on Football's Play to Win, the Bulldogs take on Touchdown Jesus. The Falcons kick off the NFL season in Chicago's Soldier Field. We'll make our preseason Super Bowl predictions. And Jeffrey the Ed Schechter picks winners and losers. Coming up.
Today's show is being brought to you by Ford, Mellow Mushroom, and Georgia Lottery. Welcome to Football's Play to Win with Falcons All-Pro defensive end Chuck Smith, Falcons All-Pro offensive tackle Bob Whitfield, Fantasy Football League Master Adam Brown, game analysis with Nikki Williams, Play to Win expert Jeffrey the Ed Schechter, medical and injury update with Dr. Andrew Lalagi, and your host, Atlanta sports legend Bob Neal. Today's University of Georgia Report is being brought to you by This Is It, Barbecue and Seafood, home of Atlanta's original rib tips.
Welcome back to the show. We're talking about Georgia Jake Fromm.
Yes, Bob. It was the tale of two Jakes, but now this one Jake Fromm, is replacing Jacob Eason and as the starter going up to South Bend, Indiana, and it'll be a tough game that he has to rely on two guys in that backfield to help him out, Chuck.
Sony Michel and Nick Chubb, they're elite backs. I mean, you're going to see two guys that will be NFL players and have great careers.
The first thing I want to talk about, Bob, is in between. Run Sony Michel and Nick Chubb in between the tackles, because this is how Georgia's going to win. Takes a lot of pressure off of Jake Fromm, but the key right here is for Fromm. I like to see them get the running backs out of the backfield, swing passes, and use them and give Jake Fromm some easy throws. But I think this is the key to Georgia's victory and the key to Georgia's season if they're going to win the SEC East.
Let's talk Notre Dame.
The backs are big and physical. I mean, bigger than our backs and physical, and they run downhill at you. And they, like I said, they got 4 O-linemen that have played for a long time, and there's good-looking O-line as you'll play ever because they're all big and they do a good job running the ball. But the quarterback's dual threat, which you saw the guy last week scramble around, this guy's going to be much faster and much more athletic doing that.
Oh, Winbush is a beast. He's 6'2", 280, one heck of a week last week also. But I'm curious to see how he does against an SEC defense. I haven't seen that yet.
Probably going to struggle.
That's a whole lot of man to struggle.
Here's my question.
How tall are you?
Defensive lines, can either DL stop the rush?
Well, I think Trent Thompson and Lorenzo Carter are some beasts, and I'm real familiar with Lorenzo Carter. I had a chance to work with him this summer, but Trent Thompson at the high, I mean, literally almost at the top of the NFL's board when it comes to the NFL draft. I think Georgia's D-line is going to be fantastic. They're definitely
that D-line, woo, because it's going against the biggest O-line in the nation, I think. McGlinchey is 6'8", 315-pound left tackle for Notre Dame, and they got 4 guys that's been there a long time playing together, 4 seniors on that line. So that's a veteran bunch, Bob.
How tall is 6'8"? How tall are you?
6'6".
He's taller than you?
Huge.
That's a big man. He's a classy fellow, too. I've liked what I've seen out of him.
He's a classy fellow, too. All right.
I'm not saying you're not classy.
It's time to talk some Georgia Notre Dame now with Chris Domino.
Hey, Bob, let me pay my respects to start off. Notre Dame is one of those destination spots. Every sports fan has their list of places they want to see a game. This is one of them. Georgia fans are going to have a great time. Now let me tell you what I really feel about Notre Dame. They're as overrated as anybody can be. They've had one top 10 finish in the last 22 plus seasons. They've had 5 coaches since 1996. It doesn't mean they don't have a storied tradition in past. I get it. Heisman's, national championships, they have it. This is going to be a fun trip for Georgia fans for a couple of reasons. Not only do I think they can win and will win the football game, but I think Notre Dame fans have to realize the days of the glory, even though they just played in the championship game a few years ago, are not there. One of the reasons, look, Jake Fromm is supposed to have me believe that Georgia can't win. They can. They've got the 2 backs that can do it. They've got a defense that I think is going to be good enough to do it. And while Notre Dame will play an up-tempo, I do believe that the work Kirby Smart and company have put in to have this team physically prepared to play, as well as mentally, is going to pay off. At the end of the day, it's going to be a great road trip for the University of Georgia. I hope everybody comes back on Monday smiling away.
All right, how about a storied stadium? Does it make a difference?
Well, I don't think so. When we went in there, it was a storied stadium. Bob went in there and beat them storied stadium. But I just think Notre Dame, it's just phenomenal to go there, but they still got to be a good team.
You got to play the game. You just got to worry about a referee's call. But
what about your pick?
I agree with Domino. Notre Dame is very overrated. This is a big game for Georgia, but if they play D, run the ball down Notre Dame's throat. Last year, Notre Dame couldn't stop anybody. Take the 4 with the Bulldogs.
All right, take the 4 and the Bulldogs. There it is. Read it and play it. We'll be back in just a moment when we return. Talk about other big games in college football. Later on the Falcons Report, we'll talk about them as they prepare for the season opener in Chicago on Football's Play to Win.
This is it. This Is It Barbecue and Seafood has a real value for you. 10 delicious dinners under $10 each. That's right, 10 under 10. Choose from barbecue chicken, fried or grilled shrimp, fried catfish nuggets, char-grilled cut wings, fried whole wings, chopped chicken or pork barbecue, and so many more. Each dinner comes with bread and 2 delicious sides, like baked mac and cheese, collard greens, sweet potato souffle, and so many more. Run, don't walk to the nearest store or order online now at thisisitbbq.com.
It's the real deal! And so much more.
If you or a loved one has been seriously injured in an accident, don't drop the ball by letting the insurance company run all over you. I worked as an insurance lawyer for 10 years and I know their tactics and game plan. I'm Roger Orlando of the Orlando firm. Let our 30 years of experience tackle the insurance company for you. Our team will get you every dollar you deserve. So put the ball in our hands and we'll get your case across the goal line. Find us online at atlanta.law or call 678-LAW-FIRM.
Fourth down. That's it. Time to punt.
I mean, if it were me, I'd go for it.
Right. The day that I win this will be the day that pigs. Okay.
We got a smart one over here. These are beef, right? Wait. Seriously?
Just kidding.
This guy. I was scared for a minute.
Don't sit on the sidelines. Play the Atlanta Falcons scratcher from the Georgia Lottery.
Today's SEC College Report is being brought to you by the Southeast Nissan dealers. Choose Nissan.com.
Welcome back to the SEC ACC Report. Before we talk about this week's game, let's look back at last week, Nikki.
Well, if you're going to be asking Cam Newton's brother, it was going to be a great last week because he made college football history. Kalen Newton is the quarterback for Howard, who has not had a winning season since 2005, and he just led them to the biggest upset in college football history, 45-point underdog with a 43-40 victory over UNLV. He is relishing in it, and of course, Cam Newton had to get in there and say something about Georgia. Georgia missed out on another one, and he's speaking in third person like Cam Newton does. So great week for Kalen Newton.
Well, speaking about missed out, Georgia Tech missed out, because let me just tell you what happened in this game. For Tennessee, the good. Tennessee won, because the good guys in orange always come out on top. But now the bad. Now the bad. Tennessee has one of the worst run defense in the history of the NCAA football. Last 6 games, all 400 yards plus given up.
Wow.
Jeff, so what are your thoughts on Georgia Tech?
They learned that they have a fabulous quarterback. Marshall gave one of the best performances I've ever seen, but they also learned their defense isn't any good. Now also, getting back to that Howard game with that point spread, I never saw a point spread on that game.
Well, speaking of bad defenses, and I told y'all this was going to happen. UCLA was going to do it. On that day, they did. Josh Rosen, mazel tov, my friend. We're going to have some matzo ball soup with your brother all year long because UCLA pulled off that shocker coming back from 34 points, I believe, against Texas A&M.
All right, let's talk about Alabama FSU, Chuck.
Well, the first thing I noticed about Alabama is that the defense. The defense is still top-notch, and they have an opportunity to do a lot of damage when it comes to that defense, but another thing that I noticed about Alabama, the offense still stinks. I'm going to just tell you, Jalen Hurts right now still can't throw the ball. This offense is physically challenged, and I don't know what's going to happen to them, but Alabama will lose a game this year, and it's going to start with the offense. The offense needs to get better.
All right, Oklahoma and Ohio State. What do we think about that one?
Well, you know what? I like Ohio State in this competition, but Oklahoma has a phenomenal offensive tackle, and that left tackle from Oklahoma, he's a family friend, and he's going to be a dominant force, and he might be the reason that Mayfield at quarterback is upright against a tough Ohio State defense.
Oklahoma may be the best team in the country.
All right, let's talk to you. Yeah? Okay, said here.
You know what? There's only two teams that could beat them on the schedule. They're both OSU, Ohio State and Oklahoma State. Otherwise, they're not going to lose again.
All right, how about USC Stanford?
Yes, you know Stanford gets a mention here.
I thought you'd get it.
Stanford gets the mention here because Stanford is my pick to win that Pac-12 conference, and they are always a solid team with a solid running game, solid coaching staff, and they are always competing.
But when you stop the run at Stanford, what else they got? When you stop the run at Stanford, what else they got, B?
Wins. They got wins. Special teams. They got special teams. They got great performers. They got defense, and they had a first-round draft pick last year. 2 tight ends,
run the ball.
Old school style also.
They got Bob Whitfield as an alumni. That's about.
He is in the ring of honor.
In case you can't tell.
He's a baller.
Today's Showdown of the Week is being brought to you by the Georgia Lottery, where every jackpot is a good jackpot.
Our Showdown of the Week has defending national champion Clemson hosting Auburn. For a preview, let's join Chuck Smith and Bob Whitfield with some Chalk Talk.
Hey, thanks, Bob. And what we're going to have here is Clemson versus Auburn in the spread set. And this is going to be a key play with the power action. And we got Kelly Bryant here, and he's going to make sure that they get a lot of action with this double team block right up here to see if this fullback can slide out here and the tailback can slide up in that gap.
Well, defense wins championships, and if he's going to do anything, I'm going to tell you this, Auburn's running the 4-3. It starts here at the defensive tackle. This is Derek Brown, one of the best young defensive linemen in college football, and he's from Lanier High School. The key here, they want to double team here. Derek Brown has to be stout. He cannot let this guard and tackle knock him into this middle linebacker because this is where it all starts.
And if that running attack gets going and they try to bring safeties up in the line, linebackers up, and they play that box heavy, we got Ray over here can run this bubble screen action and get on the outside sweep and get up the field.
Well, listen, Auburn's first focus is stopping the run. We probably won't even see this bubble screen because they're number 2, Dontarius Russell, who's going to be playing behind this center. So when you get this block back here, he has to stay in the flow because also, remember, Clemson also runs a quarterback draw, so that's going to be important for Auburn to take care of that. Then what you're probably going to see is the bubble screen. But what you'll have here, this is the Sam linebacker. He has responsibility for being inside number 2. So Auburn has all the keys to stopping this Clemson offense because defense wins championships, as Bob will learn.
Back to you.
Jeffrey, what do you think about this weekend's games?
Oklahoma's my pick to go all the way. So I'm definitely going to take 7.5 against Ohio State. I also have Stanford going to the Final Four. I think USC is a little overrated. Take the 6 with Stanford. Auburn, Clemson, good matchup. I think Clemson might have lost a lot of players. I'm going to take Auburn with the points. Love those dogs.
When we come back, the Falcons begin their quest to return to the Super Bowl. It's the Falcons Report next on Football's Play to Win.
Do you suffer from irritability, boredom, and chronic cravings? Mellow Mushroom's craft pizza, beer, and cocktails are clinically proven to improve your mood and leave you with a full belly. Mellow Mushroom is fast-acting, giving you relief when you need it the most. Side effects of Mellow Mushroom may include salivation, euphoria, and an insatiable craving for more Mellow Mushroom. Ask your doctor about Mellow Mushroom. She may want to come with you.
We've I've owned a few different houses through the years. Your company was absolutely the best. They were so professional. Everything they did, they didn't get a mark on a wall or anything else. It was clean, it was friendly, and it was fun. And most of the time, moving is not fun. I'm going to give a great recommendation to Atlanta Peach Movers. It's always on time and it's always professional. There is no tree in Atlanta Peach Movers.
To schedule your move, call Atlanta Peach Movers today.
Who do you trust to change your oil? I'm consumer investigator Dale Cardwell. This is really my car, and Haviland Express Lube is who I truly trust. They're professional, priced to beat the competition, and really, really fast.
Hey football fans, it's the season for tailgating and time to get your car's cooling system ready for winter. Mention Play to Win at any Haviland Express Lube and receive $20 off a coolant exchange service.
To see our real research and find the location nearest you, visit trustdale.com/Haviland.
Today's Atlanta Falcons report is brought to you by Ford F-150, the official truck of the NFL.
Offensively, this is a very good offensive line. That's the first thing that jumps out when you put their tape on, especially inside three. You know, the guards, the center, the tackles are good too. So I think they'll be one of the better lines that we would see. Defensively, really strong and stout against the run.
Time for the Falcons report. Nikki, it's always important to win. Would you call this one critical?
Oh, it's incredibly critical, Bob. I mean, we've let everything in the preseason slide, and we've chalked it up to preseason. Now and the Bears are terrible. Yeah. So they have to win. If they don't win this game, we got a real problem for the rest of the season.
Well, speaking of real problems, Bob, they're going to Chicago, and the popcorn in Chicago is great. So stay away from that good popcorn because this is a conference game, and this might affect your playoff seeding. So Falcons need to go on the road and win in conference.
Well, I hear what you guys are saying, but I disagree completely. Falcons lose this game, of course it wouldn't be good. Of course the fans will be angry, but at the end of the day, one game doesn't make a season. But one thing I want to see from the Falcons when they open up, I want to see the running game. I want to see how the offensive line's improved. I want to see Matt Ryan look like an MVP. But again, Chicago's not going to just lay down. Because again, but this is a team that the Falcons clearly should win, but if they lose this game, come on now.
They don't I understand, but this is Chicago. This is Chicago.
Good
they
pizza.
do have to win this game.
The house is burning down. Come on now.
You need
I hear you though.
To get that Super Bowl hangover off.
Well, now, Jeff, I agree with you on that. But again, look at the season. There are teams that have lost one game and went on to win 10 in a row. So again, I'm expecting the Falcons to win. Again. You understand what I'm saying?
They lose again. They lose to Chicago. They got a long week.
All right, here's my question.
That's
Is
true.
there still
That's
a
true.
but in front of Matt Ryan's name?
You know what? Matt Ryan is the quarterback that people still don't, look at as elite. But let me tell you how it works when you go to the Super Bowl and you lose. Number 2 is not a winner. Number 2 is forgotten. No one looks at number 2 and celebrates. You don't get a parade for number 2. Well, we did as Falcons in '98. But look, but seriously, think about it. You're forgotten. Nobody remembers that. They do remember, but no one talks about Vic Beasley leading the sack.
But is this. Matt Ryan is still a beast at QB, and he is a stand-up guy, meaning that he takes a lot of punishment and still throws that ball down the field. So
we're talking about perception. The perception right now, the Falcons, no one's talking in California about the MVP. Guess what? If they would have won it, they would have been talking about Matt Ryan. If they would have won it, they'd be talking about all the different players the Falcons had. But when you're number 2, that's just part of it. No one talks about the Atlanta Falcons '98 because we came in second, even though Jamal Anderson ran for 1,800. Chris Chandler was an All-Pro.
You know
and
who
you
talks
was even a
about
Pro
98?
Bowler. Nobody talking about you.
These two talk a lot about 98.
I'm talking about you because I love you.
I'm saying Matt Ryan MVP. Mark my words, MVP again.
Back to back?
Yeah, back to back.
I hope so.
Back to back.
Let's talk defensive line.
Well, I think the defensive line is going to be really exciting. I'm excited to see what Tack McKinley does. Man, this Falcons D-line is young, but I want to see this defense get in the top 10. I want to see them as a top 10 defense, and that'll lead to, I think, a little more success because last year the offense carried this team up until the end of the season.
How good of a linebackers?
It's like double D's with glitter on. Devondre Campbell and Deion Jones. Yo, those two D's right there are going to form that defensive front to be a solid front seven, and they got some good guys in front of them with Tack McKinley.
Solid
do a good
D's
job.
with glitter on them. Don't
Double
go
Ds.
home after hanging out with them.
All right, all the way back to, let's see how you handle this one, Nikki. All the way back to the secondary.
I'm not worried. Listen, the secondary last season got better after Trufant went down in week 9. So, you know, I think that Collins being suspended, yeah, it's not great, but they still have adequate depth.
Okay, time for Jeffrey's picks.
Tough game to pick, but being that they pay me the big bucks on TV, I got to give a pick. So if you must, give the 7 with the Falcons.
Give the 7 with the Falcons. All right, remember, Dr. Lalaji joins us with his NFL injury grades. We'll talk about the miracle recovery of Nick Chubb and how long Jacob Eason will be out. Stay tuned for more on Football's Play to Win.
We are the blood, sweat, and tears of fierce ambition. We are fueled by the impossible, an inner drive that can't be contained. We are the Georgia Bulldogs. So shout, go Dogs, and let the game begin. Here's to building champions. Now get $10,837 in total savings on F-150. See your local Ford dealer today.
Fourth down. That's it. Time to punt.
I mean, if it were me, I'd go for it.
Right. The day that I win this will be the day that pigs.
Okay. We got a smart one over here. These are beef, right? Wait. Seriously?
Just kidding.
This guy. I was scared for a minute.
Don't sit on the sidelines. Play the Atlanta Falcons scratcher from the Georgia Lottery.
At Longhorn, tonight's special, the Great American Steak Dinner for $12.99. A center-cut sirloin with a side, plus a starter, or dessert. And for lunch, try one of our new burgers, like the barbecue bacon burger. You can't fake steak.
Today's player injury and medical report is being brought to you by the Orlando Law Firm. Put a former insurance lawyer in your corner.
Now it's time for the Ippolito's You Be the Expert contest. This season, be sure to visit our website, playingtowin.tv, and take a shot to be #1 against all the competition by picking this week's college and NFL winners against the spread. We'll be giving away Ippolito's $150 gift certificates to each week's first and second place winners. So make sure you come back every week and prove your football IQ by being the best at predicting this week's college and NFL games. Ippolito's, a great neighborhood Italian restaurant. All right, let's go inside injuries with Dr. A. You're talking high risk, high reward.
Yeah.
What do you mean by that?
So high risk, high reward means that guys that have had significant, impactful injuries last year that have been recovering the whole offseason and now just sustained a recent setback, these are the guys you want to be watching for. Let's get right to it. So Amir Abdullah, Lisfranc tear last year, complete grade 4 injury. He's another one of these high risk, high reward guys, but foot injuries in running backs can tend to recur. Let's talk about Brandon Marshall. He's at high injury risk and below average right now. He only sustained a grade 1 shoulder injury recently. However, he's had hip, shoulder, back, knee, foot injuries in 2016, which significantly limited his performance. Let's move on to Eric Ebron. This is a guy that's just recently suffered a grade 2 hamstring injury. He's been elevated before in our books, and he's continuing to be elevated. Now drops him to below average. He's a risky start in your fantasy league. Jordan Matthews, wide receiver, again, 17% injury risk, which is elevated, and he's above average. Chip fracture to the sternum is going to heal, but he is at elevated injury risk because of the 6 injuries in the last 2 years that he's had, basically.
Right. Dr. Elamine is with us. Talk about Nick Chubb.
Yeah, let's talk about Nick Chubb. A pretty significant knee injury about 2 years ago, and let's talk a little bit about his recovery.
Absolutely. As you know, he sustained a really bad knee dislocation, and but he's extremely lucky because he only injured 3 of the 4 ligaments.
Right.
He injured the PCL, the LCL, the MCL, but he did not injure the ACL, which is the most important ligament that allows you to cut and run.
Pretty lucky, right?
Very lucky.
Yeah.
He had a great surgeon. He's in great rehab, and he's going to do well.
Yep, and let's talk a little bit about Eason real quick. Yep.
Absolutely. As you know, the quarterback this week actually sustained a injury to the knee. They're saying that he has a knee sprain. A lot of people are asking me, what is that? Typically, that is also an injury to those 4 ligaments, but we don't know which one.
Right.
We don't know.
And typically, our analytics show that any type of knee sprain is going to require at least 3 to 6 weeks of downtime. So, the backup quarterback may get his chance.
All right. Dr. E and Dr. A with us. We'll be back in just a moment. For our lightning round, stay with us on Play to Win.
In football, as in the legal system, it helps to know your opponent. I'm Roger Orlando, and I used to work for the insurance companies. I've seen their playbook, and I know their game plan. If you've been hurt in an auto accident, call me at 678-LAW-FIRM.
This is it. This is it. Barbecue and seafood has a real value for you. 10 delicious dinners under $10 each. That's right, 10 under 10. Choose from barbecue chicken, fried or grilled shrimp, fried catfish nuggets, char-grilled cut wings, fried whole wings, chopped chicken or pork barbecue, and so many more. Each dinner comes with bread and 2 delicious sides, like baked mac and cheese, collard greens, sweet potato souffle, and so many more. Run, don't walk to the nearest store or order online now at thisisitbbq.com.
It's the Rib Tip! And so much more.
Who do you trust to change your oil? I'm consumer investigator Dale Cardwell. This is really my car, and Haviland Express Lube is who I truly trust. They're professional, priced to beat the competition, and really, really fast.
Hey football fans, it's the season for tailgating and time to get your car's cooling system ready for winter. Mention Play to Win at any Haviland Express Lube and receive $20 off a coolant exchange service.
To see our real research and find the location nearest you, visit trustdale.com/Haviland.
If you've been seriously injured in an accident, don't get blindsided by the insurance company. I'm Roger Orlando, and I built a winning team to run interference against the insurance companies and get your case across the goal line. Call me at 678-LAW-FIRM.
Today's lightning round is brought to you by Longhorn Steakhouse, now featuring great American steak dinner. Longhorn Steakhouse, you can't fake steak.
All right, it's time for the Longhorn Lightning Round. That means Jeffrey Schechter.
Last week, Northwestern was a 24-point favorite. This week, they're a 3-point favorite on the road. It must be global warming. They didn't cover the 24, and they're not going to cover the 3. Duke will beat them. Wake Forest, Boston College, 2 teams trying to build their programs. They play hard. I like Wake Forest. South Carolina looked great last week against NC State, who's supposed to be a powerhouse. I like them with 2.5 points against Missouri. In the pros, Oakland and Tennessee, that could be a preview of the AFC Championship game. I like Oakland. I think they're the best team in the AFC. Take the 2.5. The Arizona on the road, I think Arizona's best days are behind them. I think Detroit will beat them at home. Same thing with Cincinnati. They missed their chances to go places. I like Baltimore with the 3.
All right, it's a big weekend for a lot of fans going up to Chicago. As Chicago is going to, of course, have Notre Dame at South Bend. Georgia's going to be there, and the Falcons are playing the Bears.
You're exactly right. And, this morning I'll be getting ready to go up to Mill Creek with the fighting 12-year-old Hawks, Coach Gallagher's team, my son Maddox. So that's what I'm doing today. If you can't be at Georgia, if you can't be at Notre Dame, come on, watch the fighting Hawks.
Oh. But if you do go to Chicago, please bring back some of that popcorn.
and I don't mind having some Italian beef, Chicago Italian beef. Had that?
Oh, no, their pizza. Their
pizza's good too.
Chipmunk.
Italian beef, trust me.
A victory, Falcons.
And that.
Chicago's good.
Yeah, all the food. Good point. Just take a look at me. I am Exhibit A. It's just what happens from Chicago. All right, that's it for Football's Play to Win. We'll see you next week.
Today's show has been brought to you by Haviland Express Lube. This is It Barbecue and Nally Ford Sandy Springs.